Hey everyone, good morning and welcome back to Topher Drives. I am once again leaving Michigan and this is my chariot to the airport this morning. The brand new 2024 Toyota Tacoma SR5 Extra Cab, the completely redesigned and new generation of Tacoma. It's about time. It's been about 10 years with the previous generation, and what a breath of fresh air it is to have this new kind of baby Tundra looking Tacoma added to the lineup. I've lived with it for the past few days. I've also lived with that Cadillac CT5V Blackwing that is over there. The Topher is coincidentally filming in the same parking lot as me this morning. I pulled up and we're just ketchup and mustard together. Anyways, you all are going to join me in my tiny little trek, little commute. It's only about 15 minutes to the airport, but I thought I would show you a little bit of what it's been like to live with this kind of base model Toyota Tacoma this week. This is only one up from the base. As I said, it's the extra cab, so this is only a two-seater, which I didn't even know existed, to be honest with you guys. I didn't know much about the Tacoma until this one showed up and I lived with it. So basically what the extra cab means is you have two seats, cloth seats in this case, and you have sort of a shelf behind them. You don't have doors that open to give you better access, but you do have extra storage here on top of the passenger seat. It makes it pretty easy to kind of throw things back here. You can see I've got my suitcase, I've got my backpack, and well, that's all I'm taking for my week in Los Angeles. One thing I want to note, we do have some prototype materials here in the interior of the Tacoma. This is overall a pre-production truck. It's a prototype, so some of the interior rattles and some of the materials you see in here are not production grade, so keep that in mind before you comment about this door panel trim. I'm sure if any of you watched videos from the initial launch event of this, you'll already know that, but had to do my little disclaimer. Otherwise, I think everything on the dashboard, the steering wheel, the seats, all of that stuff is production grade, but door panels and then some of the cladding back there behind the seats, that is not quite production grade. So we have a 6-foot bed on this truck. We have a damped tailgate. Very nice. As far as I can see, there's no real place to step up into the bed. So kind of just roll yourself in, and you can do so. If you want to look at the roof, I guess. There's a little bit of bird dirt over there. We have a step-in bed liner in here. We've got a number of mounting points to put things. We have bed lights right here that light up the bed from the top and from the sides. Super lightweight tailgate, easy to open and close, you know. We've got a tow hitch on this, a massive exhaust tip, which I was laughing at yesterday. That's kind of silly looking. We've got some Firestone HLT tires. We've got some very modest, I believe 17-inch wheels on this thing. So they've got quite a bit of sidewall. This Tacoma has leaf springs. You're also able to get it with coil springs on higher trims, and we'll talk a bit about how this rides once we get out onto the road. So under the hood of this Tacoma SR5 is Toyota's brand new 2.4-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. In this configuration of the Tacoma today, we are pushing 278 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque. Power is sent to either the rear wheels or all four wheels in this particular Tacoma via an 8-speed automatic transmission. Pretty simple looking engine bay here, no plastic beauty covers or anything, just a truck. That's kind of what I like about this thing, is it is sort of just very much, thank you, it's very much just truck. And I think that in 2024, and honestly over like the past 10 years, a lot of manufacturers have gotten carried away with some of their trucks and just making them essentially $100,000 luxury barges. And that's not to say that you can't have an insane trail hunter trim of the Tacoma that is very expensive, but I like that trims like this still exist, and just what you need, nothing that you don't. 2-seater, 6-foot bed, red, which is nice, truck with aluminum wheels. So this SR5 has the, what I believe is called climate or cold weather pack with options, which means you get heated seats and a heated steering wheel. That 4-cylinder is a little grainy on startup, and in some cases, it sounds a bit like a diesel, which is actually, right now, it kind of does. I think it's just the injector noise that you get, a little bit loud. You don't have a lot of sound deadening. There's no beauty cover, there's no insulation really, so you do get a lot of noise from that 4-cylinder on startup. It quiets down a little bit once it warms up, dips below the 1,000 RPM threshold there. Otherwise in here, like I said, you've got everything you need, nothing that you don't. Everything's very thick, everything's very blocky, and I mean, you know, Toyota's always just trying to kind of be truckish, which I kind of like. Some of the materials in here are mildly questionable, like the glove box. And I've sort of wedged my suitcase and my backpack back here so they don't move about, because we'll do a little bit of performance testing before we hit our commute and hit the highway. Got somewhere to put your sunglasses here. Notice saying that this is a pre-production prototype. We have wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto here in this Tacoma. Of course, this is just the new Android Automotive-based Toyota infotainment system with built-in Google Maps. It works an absolute treat. We have my phone, which is for some reason not connecting to CarPlay, but whatever, we don't really need it for today. We have physical climate control in this truck. I mentioned heated seat and steering wheel. So, got a small little digital gauge cluster there in the middle, analog, or, you know, actual gauges here on the left and the right for our temp as well as our fuel gauge. There's a little dial over here to adjust the height of your headlights. If the truck height changes from towing, or, you know, if you're off-roading or something, you want to change the height, you're able to do that there. Automatic brights, quick button there to turn off traction control. We have an ECT power mode, which reminds me of my Lexus GS400. I have this same button in my 25-year-old car, so it goes to show that Toyotas never really change all that much. ECT, of course, meaning electronically controlled transmission. We have a tow haul mode as well. And we have our electronic switch to 4 high or 4 low. You can switch that on the fly with this little dial here. Push in, switch. You can hear that change into 4 high. We're going to leave it in 2-wheel drive today. No real reason to be running in 4-wheel drive. There's our backup camera. And again, I want to give Toyota a little bit of grace here with some of the rattles in this interior. I suspect, of course, the production cars will be built to a much higher standard than this prototype. But you guys will hear pretty much everything in here does rattle. But what is nice, what is impressive, is the way that this Tacoma drives. Now, I got out of a Volkswagen Tiguan last week and emerged from the experience thinking whoever tuned the throttle in that car has never driven a vehicle in their life, because it just doesn't make any sense. This car, complete polar opposite. Everything does make sense. All of the inputs feel very natural. And this Tacoma just feels like the right size. That's another thing. Trucks are getting so big. And this is really just a nice size. It's easily maneuverable. You can place it pretty nicely. Though I will say, even with the seat adjusted all the way down, I still have a very nice commanding driving position. You can see these 2 haunches on the hood. It's very blocky, it's very in charge. And even though this isn't the big Tundra, you still feel important driving it. Water smooth shifts from that 8-speed torque converter automatic transmission. Toyota usually dials in their transmissions pretty well. Let's try out ECT power before we hop out on the highway. See what this thing's got. Manual shift mode down here on the shifter. No paddle shifters, but that's okay. And it'll hold gears for you. And it has that typical Toyota rev limiter, which I love. pretty quick. I mean, you've got great mid-range torque. Honestly, there's torque everywhere with this engine. You can hear a little bit of that turbo spool. All right, come into a corner, do a small circuit. It's stout, guys. I mean, even under cornering, steering feel is nice. Very light steering here in this Tacoma, but not vague. Confidently you can go through corners. Obviously, you know, this isn't a sports car. It's not handling like it's on rails or anything like that. But what I'm trying to say is that pretty much no matter what circumstance you're in here with the Tacoma, there aren't any oh crap moments. I can't feel what the front end of the car is doing, which is nice. Bit of a strange noise from the turn signal. We'll do a long hold and turn off traction. A little bit of wheel spin there. This will absolutely roast the tires if you do a brake stand. We won't be doing that today because there's nowhere we can really do a big burnout on our way to the airport. And we'll spare Toyota the tires for today. Anyways, though, after all of that, you know, sort of spirited driving there, I hope you all can see that the Tacoma is honestly kind of fun to drive. I've been enjoying kind of hustling this thing around this week, and it's been a really good time. And once you're up to highway speeds, of course you have a little bit of wind intrusion because this is a very blockily, is that a word? It's a blockily designed car. Very sharp edges at the front. All right, let's get out of ECT power, back into normal. That kind of numbs our throttle response a little bit. And we'll get our merge done to I-94. Also, very hot heated seats. I'm going to turn that completely off. They kind of go 0 to 100 very quickly, and I am roasting. Let you guys take in NVH here for a minute. So a little bit of noise here. I think a lot of it's wind noise. We've got a little bit of tire noise from these Firestone All Seasons. Let's go ahead and set our cruise control and take a look at some of our driver aids here on this Tacoma. We have lane tracing assist, which has been greatly improved here. This will balance you pretty nicely between the lines. See how long it lets me go before it yells at me to hold the steering wheel. There you go. Okay. So it lets you go about 10 seconds without your hands on the wheel. That is nice. Pretty simple adjustments here to your speed and your distance for the adaptive aspect of this cruise control. So we've got pretty much everything you need here. Of course, no crazy self-driving, but this is, at the end of the day, a $44,000 truck. It starts just under 40 grand. So with our option package, we have a couple of these nicer amenities in here. 44 grand does kind of seem on the expensive side for me, but when you think about, you know, it's four-wheel drive, it is a truck at the end of the day. You have a lot of utility functionality here with this thing, and we have a heated steering wheel, we have heated seats, we have wireless CarPlay, a very nice infotainment. And the amenities in here, the materials that are production grade do feel quite nice. This steering wheel, for example, very nice quality item. Reminds me a lot of the one you get in the Tundra. In fact, it may just be the same wheel. It may be a little bit smaller here, but it's leather wrapped, of course. It's heated. All of the buttons on here feel very nice. I think it looks the part too. I like the silver bits down here. Toyota has heated it all the way around. They used to be guilty of only heating the sides, but this one is heated the entire way, which is very nice. Let's turn off cruise control and let's try out a bit of passing power here. All right, kicking down a couple of gears, but getting us about 10 miles an hour up with about half throttle applied. Now, I'm sure you all noticed on the walk around, we have that air dam that sticks down from the bottom of the front bumper, and it does honestly look kind of hilarious. The good news is it is easily detachable if you want to get rid of it to do some off-roading, or if you just want the extra ground clearance, you can get rid of that and unlock the extra ground clearance. But what it does do is it improves your fuel economy. Now, before I was hooting this thing around and squealing tires and filming my Drive for Winding Road magazine, I was averaging over 20 mpg combined. It's now down to 18.4 with a bit of hoonery. But the Topher told me he was averaging about 22 driving this thing this week. So it's decently efficient. Of course, trucks are never going to be the most efficient thing in the world. So how about visibility? Well, we have pretty nice visibility here from these mirrors. They are pretty large. And it's a truck, so you can see very nicely out the back window. As far as blind spots go, the B-pillar is pretty thick, so you've got a bit of a blind spot there. But the mirrors do a pretty good job of showing you what's around. Obviously, because they're mirrors, right? That's what they're supposed to do. But they are a good shape. Goes down the road pretty straight here. I'm not having to do a lot of adjustment. The steering wheel doesn't get super hot, but it does the job. This is certainly a strong entry into this really hot segment right now. Tacoma, Frontier, Ranger, Colorado, and Canyon. I guess even the Honda Ridgeline can kind of weasel its way into this segment, but between the four main competitors here, this is a very strong entry. And I want to drive more trims of this before I give you guys a really clear, cohesive judgment on where I would rank it in this segment. What I will say is, under first impressions, it's a strong competitor. I really, really do also like the Chevy Colorado, and I quite like the Nissan Frontier. This obviously easily ranks above the current Ford Ranger. Nobody's driven the new one yet. I don't really suspect it's going to be that fantastic. I know I shouldn't judge a book by its cover, and maybe Ford has really pulled out all the stops for the next-gen Ranger, but I have a feeling this Tacoma is going to be at the top of this segment, at least for now, until they go 10 years without redesigning it again and it falls behind. But Toyota, it's just kind of what they do, you know? They take their time, they get things right, and it may take a little time, but things kind of come into the market spring ahead, and I think that's kind of what we have here with this Tacoma. I'm a little worried about this 2.4 turbo, but I trust that Toyota has done a fair amount. I trust that Toyota has done a fair amount of R&D here with this, because I don't think that they're the kind of company that's just going to that'll do with a powertrain. You know, I'm sure they've done all sorts of torture testing here with this thing. Turbocharging, though, Toyota's very late to the game on that, and I hope that just means that they've really bulletproofed it. I think we have a good speed to this steering rack. You can still get on and off of the highway with one comfortable turn. And of course, you don't want your steering to be overly quick in a truck, because that's dangerous, as our trusty sun visor here will tell you. Sudden movements may cause you to become on your roof, and of course we don't want that. So one last thing, and I meant to talk about this earlier, but how about ride quality? Well, of course, this is still a body-on-frame truck, so it kind of just rides like any other body-on-frame vehicle that makes every bump just kind of feel medium. But I think the combination of these smaller wheels with the thicker sidewall and just the overall refinement of this new generation Tacoma, it is a pretty nice feel, and I'm not being juddered around like I am in some older trucks. So honestly, from pretty much every perspective, minus some of the sketchy just pre-production interior materials, which we can't judge yet, this is a very stout and nice entry into this small truck market. And I'm going to end the video here at the Holiday Inn Express, because once you pull in to park the car at the airport, it becomes chaos. So I don't want to be filming when I have to deal with all that. But I am about to get on a plane off to Los Angeles. We've got a ton of cool cars that we're going to be filming out there. You all will see them on my channel, on TheTopher, on Winding Road Magazine, on Daily Motor, on Tedward. So lots of good content coming your way for this year's LA trip. Automatically applying that parking brake there. And I'm going to leave this thing running because I'm just going to get right back in it and move it. I'll give you all a chance to hear it idling from the outside as well. Oh, one thing I wanted to mention. This Tacoma didn't arrive with an actual key. It came with this little like credit card looking thing with a Toyota badge on it. And it's peculiar because obviously you can't lock and unlock it from the key fob. So I'm not going to do it now because the truck's running. But you take the little card thing and you tap it on this little square on the door handle, and that locks the truck when you're going away. Of course, it automatically unlocks because it has proxy key. So there you go. There's my very short first impressions and little airport commute with the 2024 Toyota Tacoma. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and also go over to the TheTopher channel. He has like 7 videos on this new Tacoma that you all have probably already seen if you're watching this video. Pretty cool truck. Lots of trim levels to choose from. I definitely want to drive more of them before I give you guys an answer on which one I would take, but this SR5 seems like it kind of fills a void that we don't have with a lot of other trucks. Being able to kind of have a base-ish model trim with nice options, nice driver aids, a heated steering wheel. It's just kind of a nice little package for 40 to 44 grand. So there you go. Thank you all so much for watching. I'm gonna hop on a plane, go somewhere a bit warmer, though ironically it is storming in LA right now, so we'll gloss over that. But that'll be it for this one, and see you guys next time. Take care.